Today there are a lot of important updates from the Pokrovsk direction. Here, after weeks of relentless assaults and tactical pressure, Ukrainian forces have finally sealed the ring around Kotline. With the encirclement now complete, they have begun the next phase of calculated clearing operations through the settlement's ruins, which is already forcing Russian troops to flee, surrender, or be vanquished under drone fire and airstrikes. As you know from previous reports, Ukrainians gradually dismantled the outer layer of Russian defenses around Kotline and launched a coordinated pincer operation, capturing the northern and southern parts of the settlement using Thunder Run tactics. Now it was time to fully secure the encirclement and initiate a clearing operation to remove the remaining Russian forces from the settlement and consolidate full control of it. To halt Ukrainian advances and prevent them from gaining the operational initiative, Russians launched constant midwave assaults all over the Pokrovsk front. Through these non-stop Russian assaults and the enormous Russian numerical advantage this caused, Ukrainians were forced back into defensive operations. However, the Russians could not keep up these tactics for long, as the Ukrainians positioned themselves to drain Russian reserves as efficiently as possible without losing their hard-fought gains, continuing to look for and create weak spots to exploit. One opportunity quickly presented itself as the tempo of Russian reinforcements moving into Kotlyne was prematurely halted, due to none of them making it across the fields alive. The Ukrainians had positioned machine gun squads working in tandem with recon and kamikaze drones to turn the fields in front of Kotlyne into a kill zone where no Russians could pass. This allowed Ukrainian forces to successfully encircle Russian troops in Kotline by advancing into the town's southern outskirts and clearing the tree belt along the railway. The next step was softening up the industrial zone. Coordinated drone strikes targeted Russian positions in the industrial zone, forcing them into hiding in basement shelters. This was followed by JDAM-guided bomb strikes from Ukrainian Su-27s, causing massive casualties in one of the few buildings in the industrial zone that were still standing. The combined pressure from drone and airstrikes inflicted heavy Russian losses and significantly damaged their morale. The intense Ukrainian pressure shattered Russian defenses, and as casualties quickly ramped up and with no relief on the way, many Russian soldiers decided to abandon their positions and flee. Exposing themselves in the open fields, they were immediately detected by Ukrainian drones and swiftly eliminated. Even minor movements between buildings were tracked in real time, leading to pinpoint strikes on Russian strongholds. In desperation, some Russian soldiers dropped their weapons, attempting to make it back to Russian lines faster. However, as they refused to surrender and would rather withdraw to fight another day, they were ultimately targeted and eliminated by a series of FPV kamikaze drones. Overwhelmed by the swarm of Ukrainian drones and without escape, several Russian soldiers opted to take their own lives instead, rather than wait for Ukrainian drones to finish the job. With most Russian positions in Kotlyne abandoned or destroyed, Ukrainian special forces were deployed to secure the village, clear out remaining enemy combatants, and neutralize landmines and booby traps. Encountering minimal resistance, they quickly consolidated control, eliminating a small number of Russian stragglers hiding out in basements using hand grenades and small arms fire. They also captured Russian communication equipment, which proved to be extremely useful in allowing Ukrainian units to advance further and carry out their next objective safely. Overall, the Ukrainians successfully cleared and consolidated control of Kotline and placed the remaining Russian forces in an encirclement. Remarkably, Ukrainians did this while simultaneously defending themselves from the constant Russian midwave assaults from the south. Notably, even though Ukrainians have a strong defense in place to repel these assaults, it does divide Ukrainians' attention, which is why Ukrainians are taking their time and not rushing into hurried, risky or casualty-heavy assaults to clear Kotline. This in turn will allow Ukrainians to keep advancing at a sustainable pace, as they slowly make their way to the besieged Russian forces in the industrial zone and prepare for their final destruction if they refuse to surrender. Lastly, I know that many of you wanted to support us, but held back because we only accepted credit card payments. Today we are excited to announce that we have now added PayPal and other convenient electronic payment options. To thank you for waiting for such a long time, we are launching our biggest offer ever, 50% sale on all subscription levels. By subscribing, you are not just supporting our work, you're also unlocking access to our exclusive insights, in-depth overviews of all fronts, and strategic geopolitics videos. If you wanted to support our efforts but haven't had the chance, now is the perfect time to jump in and make a real difference. So check out the link in the description to join our cause and become an exclusive member of our community. I truly appreciate everyone who stepped up to join us. Your support means the world to us.